Hi, my name's Brianna, and welcome to Sharing Our Differences. This is our first video on YouTube, so I'm so glad you could join. Um, just kind of wanted to give like a little bit of an introduction, um, tell you a little bit about the family. So, again, as you know, my name's Brianna. I have two sons. I have Kendrick, who is 8, and I have Ezra, who's 5. Um, as you may have seen, our Ezra has special needs. He has a condition that's called acromyelic frontonasal dysostosis, which is a mouthful. It's AFND for short. He is one of very few known cases. Um, and so he has several issues. He's trach vent, G-tube. He gets PT, OT, speech therapy. There's some cognitive delays, etc. He's nonverbal, although he tries. He has his little babble that he expects you to know. And the family, we can pick up on some of the things he's trying to say. Um, and he is preambulatory. I say preambulatory because he tries and he's trying to get around and to walk with assistance. He can stand pretty well, and he can walk if he's holding on to something, and if there's something that he really wants to get to. If if not, if it's not something that's very motivating for him, then he's not going to go. But yeah, so again, let me just tell you a bit about ourselves. So I would say our story really began in 2017. As he was born in 2017, as he was born 2 weeks before my husband passed. Kendrick was 3 at the time. As he was, well, let me back up a bit. We didn't know that Ezzy was going to have any sort of medical issues. The ultrasound tech, don't get me started on this. The ultrasound tech pretty much gave thumbs up, said, yeah, baby looks good, everything looks good. And that's not the case. Ezzy had, and I call Ezra Ezzy for short. Ezzy has hypertelorism, which you can tell where his eyes are kind of further apart. He has no cartilage in his nose. That's why it's pretty much just flat with 2 nostrils. So there's no true nose. He also has, he had surgery. He had a heart condition, tetralogy of Fallot, which should have been able to be seen on the ultrasound. Essentially, as he had multiple things that should have been caught on the ultrasound tech, or on the ultrasound, if the tech was good at his job. Yeah. So when Ezzy was born, I had him via emergency C-section, and no one knew what was happening. So when he came out, it was a really tough time. He wasn't able to breathe independently again because he has no true nose, so he had to be intubated and everything else. So he spent we had him at a regular general hospital, and then had to rush him over to a children's hospital. That was in September. During that time, he had multiple surgeries. When he was 5 days old, he had his first surgery, which was an encephalocele repair. So pretty much, not quite brain surgery, but right on the outside of the brain. He had that first surgery when he was 5. Then he had maybe about 5 or 6 more surgeries while he was still in the hospital. But he did get home in time for Christmas that year, so I was very excited for that. So let me just kind of see. After that time, we got out because as he was because as he had a vent, or had a trach and was on the vent, the hospital, and I was the only parent. Like I said, my husband passed when Ezzy was 2 weeks old, and so I was the only parent there. The hospital did not feel comfortable releasing him to our home, to me, by myself, because they wanted there to be at least 2 caregivers, which makes sense. You know, if a trach comes out, if one person's sleeping, I understand all that. At that time, I was not working. I had stopped working, so I was on maternity leave, and I wasn't planning on going back anyway. my husband was kind of going to do the stay-at-home mom thing for a little while, since I had a 3-year-old and a newborn. So I didn't have a job at that time. And my parents, God bless them, were kind enough where they said, you know what? As a matter of fact, it was after my husband passed. They said, nope, come move back in with us. So that's what we did. I moved back in with my parents. I moved Kendrick in and Ezzy. You know, we were all there with my parents, and God bless them, they went from being empty nesters to having their daughter back and having the grandchildren there, and special need grandchildren, or, you know, special need grandchild, and all of the nurses and therapists and respiratory techs and everyone just coming in and out. So my parents were super awesome with that. Pretty much we stayed with them for about 5 years. We stayed with them for 5 years. During that time, so much grief counseling, just counseling for myself, trying to get myself back in a better place, trying to come to terms with, 1, being a widow, 2, having a special needs child, 3, trying to explain to my 3-year-old, trying to explain to my son why daddy's not coming back home, having to sell my house. I sold my home too, sold my house, couldn't keep my dogs, so got rid of my dogs, going from, you know, being independent, having my own place and everything else, to being back in my parents' house. That took a lot. And during that time, again, my credit score took the worst hit. Like, it was so down there, I didn't even know it could go that low. But I spent that 5 years pretty much healing, just healing, trying to figure out who I am now, you know, all of that. Things that this life that I was now a part of, just trying to kind of get my bearings. And during that time, things went really well. I went back to school. I became a licensed practical nurse, an LPN. I bought a new car, so I had that stability back, got my credit score back up there now, so everything's great. You know, got counseling for Kendrick, you know, got him squared away with school, got him used to, you know, our new home, new way of living, and everything just really has been going really well. And we just recently, end of September, moved into our new place. So it's official. I am out of my parents' home. We are out of my mom and papa's place, and we've got our own place now. In fact, I'm actually sitting out back. Ezzy is in there laying down. Kendrick's at school right now, and as he's laying down watching cartoons, you may or may not be able to see his reflection down there. I'm not sure whether or not you can, but yeah, so things are going really well. So I started this YouTube channel to kind of, 1, as therapy for me and the kids, 2, to share our story, and to maybe encourage other families that might be going through some things. I know having a special needs child can feel overwhelming. It can feel stressful, to say the least, and you can feel really alienated. I had a lot of people, and still do have people in my family and friends who want to be there, you know, they want to help, but they just don't know how, you know, or they just don't know what to say, or they just, you know, there's that disconnect, you know, and it's no fault of their own, you know, it's no fault of their own. They didn't have that experience. They weren't around that experience before, so they're just learning, that's all. So yeah, so I'm hoping that this channel will maybe help to encourage others, anyone who might be going through a really tough situation. I understand, and it may take some time, but you know, I hate to say it gets better, because that's all everyone was saying to me. It gets better, it gets better. I'm like, leave me alone. Talking about it gets better, I'm gonna throw my shoe at you. But you learn to cope. I should say that. You learn to cope. You learn how to kind of go with it, you know? And then before long, things that used to really stress you out, not so much anymore. You'll still have your bad days. That's everybody. That's life. Life. It's up and downs, you know, but you get through it, and you learn to make do, and you learn to cope, and then you learn to be happy when you're going through it, and then you're smiling, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, this isn't as bad as it used to be, or this isn't as bad as I thought it would be. So again, yeah, thank you for tuning in. Our next videos will have I'll have the boys in it, as he's probably asleep right now, actually, because I don't hear him calling or crying out or anything, so he's probably asleep right now. But in the next videos, I'll have the boys in it. The holidays are coming up, so we might do a few things for that. I've got my new place, and it is bare. Like, there is not much in there, so I'm looking forward to doing some holiday decorating, some Christmas decorating, and things like that. So again, thank you so much for watching, sharing our differences. I hope you like and subscribe so that you can continue to follow our journey. And you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.